Folks, welcome into SportsbookReview.com. It's Friday, it's payday, and it's time to talk some Major League Baseball. As I look overall at this card, I don't like that much, but there is one shining game out here that I'm going to deliver for my play of the day. Can't wait to get after it on a Friday. Let's end the week in style. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz, along with Kyle Purviance. We are the SportsbookReview.com Major League Baseball team. Yesterday had a value menu wager. One swing and a bat by Dansby Swanson basically ended that fantastic. We were eating McDonald's last night. On to the bigger and better plates today. Maybe some steak, maybe some shrimp, maybe some lobster. Who knows? Jason, how's it going today?
Yeah, those Braves, they saved me as well. The last two nights I've taken L's, but it's crazy because I kind of played myself with both of them. Those teams, they hit their team totals in the their full games, but not in the first five. So played myself in those two, but I'm still going to be pushing, still going to go through, and we'll be fine. It's just a little weak spot here, but coming back Friday, payday, like Donnie said, we'll be right back with it.
I love it. I can't wait for tonight's action. Sit back, relax, watch some of these dubs come through. Kyle's got big golf on the weekend, but before we do that, we got some MLB business to handle here, Kyle.
Yes, we do. And last night was a good night. Last night, I got some sleep because all three of my bets hit. The prop hit, the value menu hit, the play of the day hit. I also want to extend my condolences to Kylie out in the chat box. I can't imagine what that feels like, and that's horrible. So I do hope that you win some money today and that it can help you and your family get through that, because that just imagining that with my mom makes me want to cry right here on the air. So I hope everything goes well there. But let's have a Friday payday. It is a tough card. I do agree. There's not a ton of stuff I like in terms of team totals. I do have one on the value menu. We got a couple value menu plays, a play of the day. It's going to be a good day. We got a nice prop. So let's win. Let's dedicate it to our boy. Let's hope you win too, and hope everything goes good with you and your family.
That's right. That's that chat box community that we got out here on sportsbook.com. Right. All love in the chat box, pulling for one another. It's a free show. It's what we do. We look to win money. We look to share the information. We look to have a good time and lift everybody up at every chance we get. Speaking about money here, guys. $20,000 in Bitcoin up for grabs over the summer, right through to the World Series, right here at SportsbookReview.com. Check out these details of picking winners. Here's Lee Martin with a short video explaining the contest.
MLB 10 runs for free cash contest is now live at SBRforum.com. What is the contest? It's simple. Each day in a designated SBR forum post, you pick one team that you think will score 10 or more runs that day. You qualify to win $100 that day if you are correct. Each day the game continues, you pick another team. And every time your team scores 10 runs, you'll be adding onto your total score. The contest is split into 3 segments, and at the end of each segment, the top scorers split $2,500. And at the conclusion of the contest, there's even more cash up for grabs, in total over $20,000. And I know what you're thinking. You can just pick the Yankees every day and win. No, you can only pick the same team once per week. Check out the link in the description for more info, and see you in the SBR forum for the contest.
All right, back and better than ever here. Thank you, Lee Martin, for that quick video here. We have 20,000, as we said, up for grabs. Everybody should be getting into that. But you know what everybody's getting into? Subscribing to our channel here at sportsbookreview.com. Check it out, 87,200 subscribers. Thank you, guys. I asked you for those subscribes yesterday. We got those today. We bumped it up. Let's keep it moving on our way to football season. Sooner or later, we will be back to 100,000 subscribers. And that will be fantastic stuff. But we got some afternoon Major League Baseball to get after today. 0-0 here, bottom of the first inning, Arizona and Chicago. We always like to rip it around the horn. I don't have any, real looks in this game overall, but you got some hot weather conditions out at Wrigley today. So we are anticipating some runs being scored. Jason, any looks in this early game between the Cubs and the Diamondbacks?
I had no looks. Obviously, right now the Diamondbacks have been one of the worst teams in baseball. On the other end, you have the Cubs, who within a week, their lineup's going to look a lot different than it looks now. So you never know how their heads are and how they're going to perform on any given day. I think the Cubs lineup obviously way better, and they look a lot better. But Davies on the mound, he's been so up and down throughout the entire season that you can't back the Cubs there. So nothing here, nothing in this game. But of course, Davies is easily the worst pitcher, in this game.
Yeah, certainly so. And by the way, just quickly in the chat box here, I know there's a lot of chatter about the Dodgers game last night. And look, I'll be the first one to pile on Kenley Jansen, but you can't ask your closer to get 5 outs in an inning. He picked up the win literally twice in that game, a blown check swing call. And I don't know what Taylor was doing at shortstop, thinking it was like a softball game where you throw the ball basically underhanded to second base for the final out of the game, which ended up the guy being safe as opposed to being out. So I can't blame the Dodgers or Jensen. If you had the Dodgers, my condolences. Kyle, looking at this game today, Arizona and Chicago, any feels for this one?
The way I handle this game, which most Arizona Diamondbacks games, first of all, you can't trust the Cubs. Gallen's certainly a better pitcher than Davey, so there is a little I think Arizona's favored slightly, right? Is that correct? But this is a live betting situation. Wait till later in the game till you get to that Arizona bullpen, who is very leaky, and maybe you get a value on the Cubs. Maybe they have 2 and you get a total of 3.5 after the 6th inning, something like that, where you can attack that bullpen. Nothing going for me to start the game or before the game, but this would be a spot. Anytime you get these teams, these bottom tier bullpens like the Diamondbacks are, attack them late when that bullpen gets into the game. That's the way I would approach this game.
Yeah, talking about some live betting opportunities again. I mean, even if you looked at last night with the Philadelphia Phillies, I mean, they couldn't score at all. They posted on, it was either DraftKings or FanDuel, watching either one of those there. But the main one I always track is FanDuel. Obviously, that was 1, and it certainly hit. But they had a -0.5 of a run, and that one was, -155. Seemed like stealing money. And then the same thing, 6 outs to go here. This one was on DraftKings. You look at the Atlanta Braves, 6.5 when they had 6 runs. They got to score one run against the bullpen. Of course they did. Some great live betting situations pop up each and every night. Hopefully you guys are taking care of those. Braves and Phillies. Let's get after the card today. How about this one here? Phillies a little bit sliding back, had a nice little run, got bounced twice up in New York, played disastrous baseball last night. Now we have Atlanta and Philadelphia fried, maybe getting fried today, but that is Fried on the mound versus Zach Wheeler. 128s to 150s offshore, 138s to 156s here in New Jersey. Across the board, 7.5s. It's hard to go under in Citizens Bank Ballpark. When you take a look at both of these pitchers, they can hold these lineups down. Any thoughts here, Jason? Big favorite here for the Phillies at -150, looking to snap that mini skid.
Yeah, so, you always like to talk about odds boosts and promotions. William Hill has one right now for this game, so we'll get on to that right now. If you bet on the money line in the Phillies and Braves game, if your team wins, you earn a free bet equal to your winnings up to $50. So right now, William Hill, the Phillies are -153, so I think you would need to put $77 on -153, and then you can get up to $50. That $50 as a free bet if the Phillies win, so you can double your earnings with William Hill there for this game. Also, you can bet the Braves as well. They're going to be +143, so you don't need to put nearly as much money on the Braves if you think the Braves can win. But me personally, I like the Phillies in this spot, and I would go with the Phillies with that promotion if you guys want to tell there. If you look at these Phillies against lefties, they're getting on base. They're walking at a really high rate, 14.7% in the last 30 days, also striking out just 19% of the time with a weighted OBA of 350 for that projected lineup. Now, they don't have too much power, and Fried obviously isn't going to allow that much power either. Maybe the lefties a little bit, so Harper has a chance, Didi Gregorius, they have a chance, but both those lefties are not really terrific against lefties in the first place, not recently. So I kind of like Zach Wheeler in this spot. I think he'll be just fine. He's been phenomenal all year long, and who's in that lineup can really do damage. Freeman, one of the only guys that can do really high amount of damage to Wheeler. The Braves lineup, it's getting better as the days go on, but Zach Wheeler, he's another breed in terms of pitching, and he's gonna step up again tonight. So I'm on the Phillies here.
Yeah, leaning over as you saw me right there. 3-0 Cubs here with a dinger in the bottom of the first inning. Javi Baez 3-run blast. So here we are off and running in Wrigleyville at this time. Taking a look also, that DraftKings odds boost here. Phillies and the Braves to each score in the first inning +1,000. That's an amazing number. Now, tough one. I think they had one last night between the Red Sox and the Yankees, similar. Obviously, that one went up in flames. I don't think anybody even scored in the first inning. So they're tough ones. But, boy, when you talk about a payout there of 10-1 with that type of action. Kyle, looking at the game tonight in Philadelphia today, we know Zach Wheeler's a very good pitcher, 2.88 xFIP on the season, which is tremendous. Going up against a decent lineup here for the Atlanta Braves. But, obviously, we always look at the Philadelphia Phillies in a way to try to squeeze that lineup or see what we can do a little bit later in the ball game. But the same can be said. If Zach Wheeler's going to go 7 1/3, his typical game, it's usually hard to try to jump on one of those team totals because he's a good pitcher. The ones that we like are what? Matt Moore going like 4 innings and leaving 5 innings up to the bullpen. What are you looking at tonight between Philadelphia and Atlanta?
Yeah, I think you touched on it beautifully. The Phillies bullpen and the Braves bullpen, both terrible. right? And this was sort of a game. It was tough for me, and we talked about it's kind of tough on team totals tonight. But you do get a depressed number for the Braves with Wheeler on the mound. And if you go to BetMGM, you can actually pick your number and pay the price. Over 2.5 runs is at minus 165. Look, it's not the juiciest of numbers. But again, Wheeler in his last 5 starts against the Braves, in 3 of those games, he wasn't great. Now, he had 2 outstanding performances, including his last one. He put up 64 fantasy points. The game before that, a 17, a 23, then a 61. So this Braves lineup, and keep in mind Acuna was there, so obviously there's that extra special type player in the middle of that lineup to help things along. But there is a realm of possibility where the Braves can put up a run or 2 against Wheeler, and then if you get into that Phillies bullpen, anything can happen. So I did a little sprinkle and for a few McNuggets tonight on that Braves team total over 2.5. Just when you have a lineup, even though there's no Acuna, it is getting better. They seem to be hitting the ball well. It's warm weather. It's a hitting conditions. 2.5 is a low number. I think the Braves can get to 3 runs tonight, so that's the way I would go. I do agree. I do favor the Phillies. Fried has also been very, very good against this Philadelphia lineup outside of his last start where he was actually lit up and didn't score any fantasy points. But I will say, I just have a feeling the Braves get 3 runs here. 2.5's awfully low for a team of that pedigree, for a lineup of that pedigree. I understand Wheeler's very, very good. If I was picking a side, which I just simply don't do, or a first 5, I might favor the Phillies here. But for me, the play here, take that depressed line, pay the extra few cents, get the minus 165 Braves over 2.5. They can do that off the bullpen alone. That's the way I'm going in this game.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here and how long, obviously, that Zach Wheeler goes in this baseball game. But next one up here, good one, 963, 964. And as I like to say with a meme, don't look, it's a trap. Well, who's going to fall into that trap tonight? That's the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. 115s, 122s, 125s across the board. Favorite towards the Yankees? Folks. Favored towards the Red Sox with hold on. So we're getting this straight, right? Eduardo Rodriguez, a lefty on the mound versus Garrett Cole, and you are getting a plus money number on Cole. Where do I sign up, right? Not so fast here. When you take a look at the matchups here and how well Eduardo Rodriguez has been pitching, particularly to his xFIP numbers over the last 30 days, this makes a lot of sense. Garrett Cole is a sensational pitcher, but that Boston lineup on the year has raked right-handed pitchers. What is going to change tonight? The odds makers aren't wrong all that often. They don't hand out free money at times, but I know a lot of people waking up here early this morning, Jason, going, no, wait a second, Garrett Cole plus money? I don't care what's going on in this game. Sign me up. I don't agree with it. I agree Boston should be the favorite ttonight. What do you think, Jason?
Yeah, so Eduardo Rodriguez, this is a guy, still has a 5.19 ERA, still has a whip of 1.33, 7-5 on the year. Of course, coming off a really good start against the Yankees. In his last start, 2 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, and 5.2 innings pitched. But now the Yankees, they kind of have some production out of the bottom of their lineup. You got Allen, Lamar, Giddens. Like, these guys have actually not. Giddens is walking a little bit against lefties, but the other guys, like, they're kind of producing. Florio's also producing in the lineup, and I don't know if he'll be in the lineup today, but just in general, the Yankees, these backup guys are kind of finding their rhythm now in that lineup. And if you go to them in the last 30 days, and this is an average of 25 plate appearances per player, they're walking 19.1% of the time. Now, of course, Rodriguez has not walked nearly as many batters, 4.5%, but the Yankees, they've been patient against lefties. They're getting on base. They got a 414 weighted OBA in the last 30 days, also an ISO of 230. Now, they didn't show much power yesterday, but there's potential here. They've hit Rodriguez in the past. They got 2 runs in 6 innings on 627. On 6-5, they got 5 hits and 3 runs on 6-5, and then those are the 2 starts this year. But there's potential here for the Yankees to do some damage. And of course, with Cole on the mound, you never know what you're going to get out of him now without the sticky stuff. But at the end of the day, Cole has looked really good in his last 2 starts. 9 innings against the Astros, of course. That was that big game where he he told everyone he's staying in. And then, of course, against the Red Sox, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 11 strikeouts in 6 innings in a 3-1 win in a 6-inning game. That was back on 7/17 just a week ago. So Cole's a better pitcher. I think he'll perform in this one. I kind of like the Yankees more. They should get on base. Can they get those clutch hits? That's the question, but I would think they can.
Yeah, take a look here, too, because the walk rate over the last 30 days, if we take a look versus left-handed pitching for the New York Yankees, their walk rates are incredible here. So they're very patient at the plate. But at the same time, Eduardo Rodriguez is a lefty towards lefty batters. He's actually getting raked a little bit over the last 30 days. Only 16 batters he faced, but a .415 weighted on base percentage. But look at the Yankees lineup tonight. Ronald Odor and Gardner, probably the only lefties in the lineup. Take a look at Eduardo Rodriguez to right-handed batters over the last 30 days, which he's faced 73 of them. A 198 weighted on base average and an ISO power number of .043. It's going to be a good game, Kyle. What are you looking at tonight?
Yeah, am I crazy? Doesn't the 8.5 seem high? Like, I like the under in this game. I'm sorry. These
two
are
good bullpens too.
These are two fantastic bullpens, two of the better bullpens in baseball.
Yeah.
Two fantastic starting pitchers, two pitchers who've had a lot of success against the opposing lineup. You're still missing some key components from the Yankees lineup. 8.5. Like, I'm kind of feeling dumb for not adding this to my value menu earlier. I might be doing it. I like the under in this game. That's the only bet I would make. I don't trust either side to win this game, and Lord knows what could happen. We saw all the crazy, wild pitches last night and all the nonsense happening there. I just don't see a lot of runs in this game. I'm looking at games like Oakland and Seattle and Philly and Atlanta with totals at 7.5. I feel this game should be 7.5. I think that's a full run too high. I'll take the under in Boston, New York. I want nothing to do with either of these lineups in terms of DFS. Pitchers-wise, I think the value here would be on Rodriguez just because you're getting the salary savings, which is nice. You're getting Rodriguez at 8,300, whereas you're getting Garrett Cole over 10,000. So if you're looking to take a side in DFS, I would take the salary savings. I think they have equal upside here. Garrett Cole has actually been one of the pitchers most affected by taking away the sticky stuff just in terms of spin rate, but his numbers have still been really solid. I like the under in this game. I'm going to take the under 8.5, and hell, I might just add an extra pick to my value menu because that one just seems a little bit too easy for me.
Yeah, how about us bringing it up on the show yesterday as well? You know, Aroldis Chapman pitching back-to-back nights against the Phillies might not be available. Wish he was available last night, don't you? Because they gave it up in the ninth inning, then ended up losing an extra inning. So he should be back tonight. So again, to your counterpoint there, Kyle, if you're looking for a bullpen, Chapman's probably going to be back. That can only help if they do get into a late-game situation, maybe able to shut it down. But two good bullpens. I like where you're going on that one. Typically, we always used to pump up the overs, but this one does just take a look and say, you know what? Two good pitchers on the mound. I mean, there are two good batters, but again, you're lining up here in a division rivalry game where both of these teams really want to win. We'll see how this one plays out. Keep it moving it down the list tonight. I like this one. It's a good game. 979, 980. Chicago White Sox and the Milwaukee Brewers. Giolito and Peralta. Keep in mind also, over this 3-game set over the weekend, you're going to get really good pitching matchups. So us guys that like to pick on team totals and going over, maybe not the best series overall for that, but you can certainly sit back and try to see how these two teams play out. Two first-place teams, obviously, between the White Sox and the Brewers. If we take a look at the line movement here, slight line movement offshore here, Jason. Minus 114 at Pinnacle where they opened up. They now sit at minus 126, around 130 in New Jersey. Another low total, and rightfully so, at 7.5. Two good-looking lineups, but then again, two good-looking pitching stats here, Jason.
Yeah, so Giolito coming off that 9-inning game in a 10-1 win over Houston, probably didn't have to go that deep. And but the thing is, like he's a guy that's going to go 100 pitches basically every start. If you look at July, he's been over 100 pitches in every single start. In June, he went over 100 in every single one but one. So this is a guy he can stay out there for a long period of time. And so just 107 pitches through 9 innings, that's not terrible. You would think he's maybe a little bit fatigued, but that's kind of his workload anyway. So I wouldn't be so worried about that. Just something to point out. He did go 9 innings in his last start, and sometimes that could fatigue a pitcher, but probably not him because that's kind of the amount of pitches that he throws on a given day. But you look at this White Sox, we talk about it all the time. They just destroy against righties. And look, Peralta, he's been solid. Obviously, he's a guy that, it's an all-star caliber pitcher this year. And he's went 11 innings this month in July. 5 earned runs, 2 home runs, 7 walks, really high in the walks, but also 13 strikeouts. He's capable of getting the job done, but his SFIP is high. That's because the walks are really high at 15.8%, and he's not getting many ground balls at 31.9%. So the thing with the White Sox, they'll have to limit the ground balls, and they'll have to be patient at the plate. And what do the White Sox do? They're patient at the plate, and for the most part, they'll limit the ground ball. So I like the White Sox in this spot. It's a close one. It really is. I think that we can see a pitcher's duel, but we can also see two offenses, click at the right time. So this one's really hard for me. I would look at the White Sox here, but it can go either way. I see it from both sides, over, under. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
This is awesome stuff because as Jason brings up, you're looking at two really good baseball teams. That's why they're first place. Kyle, if we take a look at just the last 30 days on both of these lineups, 16 eligible batters, right? 8 from Chicago White Sox, 8 for the Milwaukee Brewers. Do you know 15 of those 16 batters are above the average in weighted on base average? And if we take a look here, and again, that's between righty splits, but look at the ISO power numbers. And I just want to specialize on the White Sox. They're so much fun to bet because you always have a chance. I'm going to list their ISO power numbers for the last 30 days to right-handed pitching. 194, 216, 279, 268, 276, 217, 364, and 273. Keep in mind, like a .165 is around average. Every single player in the lineup is above average. Then you get to the weighted on base averages, Kyle, for them. Chicago White Sox, 409, 380, 388, 399, 390, 335, 389, and 382. That's a good baseball team, man. It really is.
It's really good. I mean, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with. Isn't it hard to not see them in the World Series in the American League, especially with that rotation, that lineup? The only thing holding them back is that idiotic, moronic manager of theirs, right? Like, why the hell I can't even say what I was going to say, but let's just say I would be very happy if Tony La Russa was not around. Let's just put it that way. What an absolute moron. And I hope Yerman Mercedes at least gets to punch him in the face once. Anyways, moving on. Those numbers are scary for the White Sox, and it makes it hard to back the Brewers here. And Giolito has looked pretty solid as of late, and the Brewers lineup does not profile well against Milwaukee. This could be a no-runs first inning spot. Of course, the thing that would scare me is all those ISO power numbers you gave us for the White Sox. So it's a little scary, right? Peralta has been fantastic. I mean, you guys touched on this game is very, very tough. I stayed away from it. Maybe a sprinkle on the no-runs first inning. The problem, I haven't been giving a lot of those out because the problem with those no runs first inning is when you see it's human nature. It's our nature. You go by the numbers like, oh, I see 2 great pitchers. That's the one where the pitchers should be able to mow through the first inning. They're ready to rock and roll. But what we're starting to find out is, especially without the sticky stuff, it's taking some time for these great pitchers to get warmed up and really get through the lineup. The first innings where they're most vulnerable. It's almost like a great fighter in MMA. There's not enough sweat to get out of the submission, so they're more easily choked out because there's just more friction on them. Mm-hmm. So these games where, like the Scherzers and the DeGroms, where we all are gravitating towards the no runs first inning, it's not really working out. They're giving up home. So I would be skeptical on that. I would lean the under 4 in the first 5 innings in this game. I think of all the bets you can make on this game, that's probably the one I trust the most. If you want to pay up over at BetMGM for a suppressed team total for the White Sox at 2.5 or 3, I think that makes some sense as well. But for me, under first 5 innings, maybe a nerfy sprinkle, but be careful. I would not put the mortgage on it. And maybe no run second inning, as Alex says in the chat box. I don't think that's a bad idea because these first innings have been a little skeptical and a little weird with these good pitching matchups. Nerfy under 4 in the first 5 makes a lot of sense to me. You get a good number on that, -120.
It's a shame. Like, I mean, imagine like the Chicago White Sox with their last 30-day statistics versus righties, like going into Baltimore playing like Matt Harvey. Like, where would we sign up? It would just be annihilation. But the fact that they're getting a decent pitcher in Peralta here, and again, also, you forget about, Peralta goes in there. You get that back end of the bullpen together with the Brewers as well. Look, that's a good lineup. They can hit, no question about it. One of those where I'm going to sit it out and just watch 2 first-place teams get after it and see what happens at the end of it here. Let's go to our value menu wagers on the card tonight. Firing on fast food last night, hitting a wager on the Atlanta Braves team total over 4.5. And I got to be honest with you guys today. I don't really like the card. I didn't waste any time with my value menu wagers because I love what I got coming in my play today. So I'm going to abstain from a value menu wager instead of just throwing out nonsense. Jason, what do you got tonight?
Yeah, so I'm looking at this Tigers game against Bubic, but I'll keep it short. Bubic, 7.38 xFIP in the last 30 days, striking out under 17% of batters, walking 15.5% of batters, ground ball rate still kind of low in the last 30 days, and just struggles against lefties and righties. So, in Bubic's last start, he actually wasn't terrible. 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts against the Orioles. He still had 11 fly balls and 4 ground balls. And then, of course, they ended up losing that game 8-4, and the bullpen absolutely collapsed in that one. So Bubic plus the bullpen. I like the Tigers here. Their offense has been really good. 7-game win streak. Let's roll with that and take them for the full game on the team total over at 4.5.
I like where Jason's going there, Kyle. What do you got here? Value menu wager plays here, huh?
Well, let me just say, Jason said he's going to keep it short. That's the title of my sex tape right there. Keep it short.
There you
Nice,
go.
simple and easy. You got to save the space on the rest of the tape. Anyways, it's Friday. We got to have a little bit of fun out here.
True.
So this was going to be my play of the day. I think I'm going to back it down to a value menu wager. I'm going to take the Reds minus 0.5 in the first 5 innings. That's sitting here. Let me look at minus 125. Look, Molly. I like to call him Fred Savage from the Austin Powers movies. Remember Molly. I know his name's Molly, but if I'm even saying that right, is it like male or something? I have no idea. But
Molly.
I like to call him.
Like
I like to call him Molly. Molly. I call him Fred Savage. He's just an exponentially better pitcher than Wade LeBlanc. Wade LeBlanc is terrible. He has not had more than 3 strikeouts in a game this entire season. We'll talk about that more when we get to our official plays. Molly's been actually very, very solid. I think that even though the Reds don't profile beautifully, and we like it if Castellanos was there, and I'd like it if Winker was hitting lefties a little bit better, etc., I still think that Molly can get through the early part of this lineup. It's a 3-year weighted OPS of 689. It's the 3rd lowest on the card. Someone says Molly going to get rocked. I don't think so. That St. Louis lineup isn't rocking anybody. I mean, I don't know what Cardinals team you've been watching, but they're not rocking anybody. I'll take the Reds minus 0.5 in the first 5 on the value menu. And we talked about it earlier. It's just a suppressed lineup for the Braves. You go to BetMGM, over 2.5 runs at minus 165. Look, Wheeler's not going to pitch a 9 game. He's not going to go a complete game. They're not going to do that. I am going to say that that they get some runs here. 3 runs is very, very easy, especially off that Phillies bullpen. I'll take the Braves over 2.5 runs at minus 165, also on that value menu as well.
All right, best bets and bankers here on the card. Friday's payday. We like to end the week in style here, and I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Opened up the book, and I said, you know what? I don't really like much on this card. I said, now, wait a second here. One of these teams that I usually just throw right in the trash can and don't even look at their games, now the hottest team in Major League Baseball, and rightfully so. Let's go to Kansas City tonight. Everything matches up well. 91 degrees at first pitch, light wind blowing out. That ball should carry tonight. Bubic on the mound here for Kansas City. Let's take a look at seasonal statistics here for him. 5.46 xFIP, which is terrible. Striking out under 20% of the batters he's faced, which is terrible. He is a lefty, terrible to lefties at 384, weighted on base percentage, terrible to righties at 353. ISO power numbers are elevated, and take a look on the seasonal statistics for the Detroit Tigers against lefties. They're actually very good. Now let's examine the last 30 days and try to get into some of these intricacies. You know, Scope 337, Grossman 390, Cabrera 488, Haas just 668. Candelario, 386. Short, 363. Castro, 336. Hill, 405. The anticipated lineup tonight. That is their weighted on base average versus lefties. Look at Bubic over the last 30 days, as Jason stated. A 7.38 xFIP number. Hey, he's a lefty. He gets lefties out, right? Yeah, good luck with that. 425 weighted on base average of lefties. Oh, he's probably pitching well to righties. Not so fast. 449. My banker, play of the day, and Friday in style. That is, of course, going to be the Tigers. How about that? 4.5 minus 125. It's a little bit higher right now at BetMGM. 135, still doable there. They're getting 5 runs tonight, a full 9 at-bats, and as Jason said, also, that's a bad bullpen out here, man. Collapses all over the place. Let's get 5 in the first 5 and get out of town and celebrate on the weekend. What do you take a look at, Jason, with your best bet and banker?
Yeah, so I'm looking at this Dodgers and Rockies game. Of course, I always talk about this. The Dodgers, they feast against the bad teams and they struggle against the good teams. We saw that against the Giants just a series ago. But here you got Chichi Gonzalez going on the mound for the Rockies. And he's 3-6 with a 5.99 ERA, a whip of 1.47. Just on the season, right? He's striking out 13.2% of batters. That's on the entire season. Before the sticky stuff was even a goner. Now it's even worse for him, as Kyle pointed out with me earlier on in the in the behind the scenes here. But this is a guy who's allowing an average of 300, batting average balls in play 315, leaving 67% of batters on base, and an FIP of 5.27. I mean, it's just a disaster for Gonzalez. And now with Austin Gomber back, when Santella comes back from COVID, Chichi Gonzalez doesn't even make this Rockies rotation. And you got to be really bad not to make this Rockies rotation just to begin with, when you can't beat out guys like Kyle Freeland. But you go to this Dodgers lineup, there's going to be no Mookie Betts. Seager's not coming back yet. Muncy's going to be out with a paternity leave. So now you got a lot of guys out of the lineup, but I still like this Dodgers lineup. There's still Turner, there's still Smith, Bellinger hasn't been great, but he's still a big bat in the lineup. Of course, Pollock, McKinney will probably take over. Also have Chris Taylor, who had a homer against Gonzalez just last start. Go back to his last start for Chichi. 4 innings, 9 hits, 7 runs, 1 home run, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, 17 fly balls and just 2 ground balls in those 4 innings against the Dodgers. And he allowed in the first 5 innings, there were 10 runs allowed by the Rockies. It was Gonzalez and then a relief pitcher. So that's 10 runs in just 5 innings for the Dodgers against Chichi Gonzalez. Now you got 75 degrees out in Los Angeles. It's going to be wind blowing to center field around 10 miles per hour. It's good weather for the Dodgers to do some damage offensively. So I'm going to take that over 2.5 in the team total in the first 5 for the Dodgers at -140 on DraftKings. That's the official play.
All right, there we go. Best bet and bankers getting after Kyle. What you got tonight? Best bet and bankers for you, sir.
Yeah, and I see some people liking the Rockies. First of all, do you guys understand the Rockies have won 9 freaking games on the road? They're the worst road team ever. So I don't know what the hell was going through your mind. Lay off the peyote. You don't ever bet the Rockies on the road. You would have lost your damn house if you were doing that all year. So don't you even think about it. It's the dumbest thing you can do in pro sports right now is bet the Rockies on the road. Let me just
and Price
throw that out there.
Price won't even go that long. He'll go 4 innings. So
it doesn't matter if Jesus Christ himself is pitching for the Rockies on the road. They're going to lose. They're just absolutely god awful. So what the hell are we talking about here, people? Don't say if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. If you're betting on the Rockies on the road, you're just losing your money and you're going to be eating top of ramen. Plain and simple. For me, best bet and banker. Look, I don't love the LA Angels. They're a bad team, but Alex Cobb is one of my top-rated pitchers on the board tonight. J.A. Happ is one of my lowest-rated pitchers on the board tonight. The Minnesota Twins already made it clear they are sellers. They have lost hope on this season. They got rid of their best right-handed power hitter. I know some people like Miguel Sano, but Nelson Cruz was the leader in that clubhouse, an inspirational leader in that clubhouse, a veteran. By far their best right-handed hitter, hitting nearly 319 home runs, RBIs through the wazoo. They trade him away. I do not like what the mental situation is going to be in that clubhouse. I don't like the pitcher on the mound. Even though I'm not in love with that Angels lineup, I do think there's a lot of DFS upside for some value tonight. Cobb on the mound for the Angels. I'm going to take the Angels -0.5 in the first 5 innings at -105. It's a nice number. We're almost getting even money. I think the Angels lay it on them. I think they lay it on them early. Cobb should be able to get through this lineup. I like how Cobb has looked lately. Angels -0.5 in the first 5, -105. Play of the day. Also, one more play of the day, and if you follow us on Twitter at SBR Sports Picks, Wade LeBlanc has not struck out more than 3 batters once this entire season. He's only hit the 3 number twice this entire season. You're getting under 3.5 strikeouts at -122. You can lock and load. Even though the Reds don't profile beautifully against lefties, a lot of their great hitters are lefties. I don't think he's striking out anyone. They have a real possibility of knocking him out early. He very rarely even gets to 5 innings. Under 3.5 strikeouts for Wade LeBlanc seems like an easy play to me. I'll take that as well at -122.
All right, our best bets and bankers are on the board. I'm 30-12 on the season. Look for Winter 31 tonight, and I expect to get it here. But now we head into the odds lightning round, the rest of the card, see if we can pick up some scraps here and see what makes sense of what. 975, 976, Washington and Baltimore. Corbin and Lopez on the mound today. Slight favorite here towards the Washington Nationals and a high total. Why? Because we're playing in Baltimore. It's always a high total, 10.5 here. Jason, quick thoughts on this game between the Nationals and the O's.
Yeah, it's tough because both these pitchers really haven't been good. You got Corbin, he's struggling with weighted OBA to both sides, and power numbers are really bad to lefties. There probably won't be too many lefties in the lineup for the Orioles, and that's why there probably won't be too much power in that lineup. But Corbin's still able to allow plenty of power and really hasn't been great this year in the first place. Ball should be in play, not getting a high amount of strikeouts like we're used to seeing out of Corbin from previous seasons. Then Lopez also, his strikeout numbers are really low and walks are a lot higher, and he's also struggled against lefties and righties with weighted OBA as well, nearing 400 on both sides of the plate. I think the Nationals are the better offense in this game. I would trust them more because they do have Soto in the lineup, who has been getting hot since that home run derby, which we won't get into that, but looks like the home run derby might actually help your swing, as we'll have to tell all the other all-stars that decide not to go into the home run derby. But yeah, you got Turner and Soto. Those two guys have been pretty much red hot against righties in the last 30 days. So I would trust those guys outside of anyone in the Orioles lineup. So you got to decide. I would go towards the Nationals. I still like the over. Both these pitchers have been awful, but I mean, just to know that you're not going to see many home runs in this game. Both ISO power numbers from both sides really just don't add up at all. So take it for how you would like. I mean, Baltimore is a home run hitter's ballpark, so you should see home runs, but the data would prove that you're probably not going to see it.
955, 966, San Diego and Miami, Musgrove versus Thompson. I usually don't agree with, parlays in Major League Baseball. When we talk about some of these odds boosts here, the FanDuel Sportsbook, how about this one? Padres, Astros, and Dodgers all to win, boosted from 210 up to 250. 3 legitimate chances here at 3 favorites with some good pitchers on the mound backing and behind them. So, Kyle, I'll throw it over to you tonight. Musgrove's on the mound. It's really hard to back Miami. It just is. When you get a good pitcher on the mound against Miami and just a solid lineup, you should be able to handle your businesses. When 8 across the board, 7.5 at some outlets here, but a favorite anywhere between 155 to 160 for the Padres. Any looks in this game?
It's tough because Thompson hasn't actually been that bad, right? Like, hey, this is actually a kind of a decent arm. The Marlins, for all their hitting woes, do have some, between Rogers and Thompson here. It's too bad that they have such a double-A, single-A type of lineup here, and that's the reason you'd back the Padres here. If you're going to do so, try to find yourself some value, maybe minus 0.5 in the first 5 at minus 115. It's a game I'd stay away from. The Padres do have a tendency against solid pitchers to just disappear, and I know they have some lefties in the lineup who could do damage, and Cronenworth, Hosmer, etc. Just don't know if I trust either team. If I have to bet it, if this is the game, like this is a game I'm watching, I'm going to the ballpark, I'm a Marlins fan, I'm a Padres fan, there's all sorts of scenarios that make people do certain things here. You got to back the Padres. I don't mind backing them the full game because the Padres do have one of the best, if not the best, bullpens in baseball. So this is one of those teams where you don't have to necessarily focus on the first 5 innings, especially when they're facing a good team. The Marlins bullpen exponentially worse than the Padres. So this would be one where if I'm going to take it, maybe not the run line, but if you want to take the money line on the full game for the Padres and sprinkle a little bit on, that would make a lot of sense to me. Could see a few runs early, and then some late runs added on once that Marlins bullpen comes in.
All right, quickly here, St. Louis, Cincinnati, LeBlanc, the lefty on the mound versus Molly, the righty for Cincinnati. 151 to 160s, anywhere where you're shopping at here. Open up at 10 offshore here, Jason. Drop to 9.5 at Pinnacle. Any quick looks here on that St. Louis, Cincinnati game?
Yeah, we just talked about Wade LeBlanc, obviously not a good pitcher at all. And 6.92 xFIP in the last 30 days, striking out under 10%. That goes to Kyle's play there. Also walking 8.7%, so you don't expect him to be in the game for very long. Hard contact, 44.4%. And like this Reds lineup, sure, they've struggled recently, but they still match up well. And when you look at the career numbers and just the season numbers, they've struggled recently, but they're still a really good lineup, and they're walking 13% of the time. They just got to get some clutch hits early in this game, and then they could pile it on a little bit later in the game. So I still like the Reds here. They're gonna need to be patient at the plate and get on base, and then one of those guys they're gonna have to figure out how to be clutch without Castellanos, and I think they'll be able to figure that out against LeBlanc.
All right, let's keep moving down the list as we go. When we take a look at the Boomstick joining his new team, we'll see if he's in the lineup tonight. Fleming on the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays. Plesac for Cleveland. If we open up the odds on this market here, not a lot of movement. Opened up at 119 offshore. Pinnacle sits at 118 here in New Jersey at 124. You know where it sits right now? 124. Nines across the board as a total of 9.5. And hey, look, here's a little PSA, Kyle, because I'm glad you got this team. Cleveland changed their name to a ridiculously stupid name. So it's ridiculously dumb. But here's the point I'm bringing up. Washington has no idea how hard it is, I guess, to pick a team name. Cleveland's like, yep, we're going to do away with the Indians. We're going to just give you any stupid name. Guardians. Let's just go with it. It's that easy. Washington football team, you morons. Kyle, take it away.
100%. And I'm glad you said that. And I'm glad you reminded me it's the Guardians, because I was definitely I'm going to call this team.
How long is that? By the way, Kyle, how long is that going to take? It took me so long for the San Diego Chargers to move on from it. You're telling me we're going to be like, all right, Guardians versus the Twins tonight. Get out of here.
I don't even it feels like one of those like when you play Madden and you relocate your team and you have to choose one of those stupid generic names with the generic logos. That's what it feels like. Hey, whatever, as long as it's not racist, whatever. I mean, I don't know all the damn rules, and this society is so damn soft anymore. Like throwing a rock into the lake and you're a polluter and you're a racist. I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. So I'll do my best to call them the Guardians. I think it's dumber than shit, but probably better than the Indians, most likely. This one's tough. not the biggest Plesac fan. Obviously, Fleming, not very good. When I'm 50-50 on these games, it's dog or pass for me. So find the plus money. Take the plus money if you insist on betting this game. Could be a plus money spot. I'm not sure it's juicy enough for me to want to touch. I could see the under in this game. 9 seems
Name's
like a
got
high
you
total.
flustered on this one, doesn't it?
Yeah, the whole thing.
Flustered.
It's just a game I don't want anything to do with. I hate betting the Rays anyways. If they do get Nelson Cruz in the lineup, which I'd be surprised if they do. I mean, the move just happened, less than 24 hours ago. So I think it's a great trade by Tampa Bay. They certainly need a right-handed bat in that lineup outside of Azarena. And I know Wander Franco, but he'll be good. Wander Franco, people give him crap. That's a really good, talented young player. It takes a little while to get used to Major League Baseball. But I'd lean the dog here, I suppose. Just stay the hell away from this game. I don't like anything to do with this game. I hate betting Rays games anyways. And then you throw in this Plesac thing. He's another guy that's been affected by the spin rates. A little too iffy for me. I'd stay away, but if you're going to do it, underdog or pass.
Yeah, Guardians, man. I guess you could do a lot worse, but you can also do a lot better with that. I thought it was one of those Onion articles where it came out, hey, Cleveland's changing the name to the Guardians. I'm like, what does that have to do with Cleveland, like, at all? The Guardian? Come on now. Anyway,
I saw Jason
here.
tweeted out.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what the fuck he was talking about. I'm like, Cleveland Guardians? What is he talking about? Major League Soccer? I thought it was Major League Soccer,
Yes.
Honest to God.
Yes.
Honest to
That's
God.
an MLS team. That's your single A team for some reason, doing like a Guardians of the Galaxy, like promo night. We're going to change our name to the Guardians for this year. It's amazing stuff as it gets in there. But yes, we are a little bit of a softer society in what we look at. But the Guardians, I'm like, okay. I mean, hey, is what it is. Toronto and the New York Mets here, Jason, throw it to you. Mats and McGill, 8.5 across the board. When I see anything over 8 at Citi Field, I'd even look over. There's a force field over Citi Field that doesn't allow you to hit the ball more than 200 feet. I'm looking at under in this game, the same way I always do when the Mets play at home, Jason.
Yeah, this is going to be Mats' first start against the Mets since leaving. So, this is tough. I don't want to bet against Mats here or tell you guys to bet against Mats because I still like him. I still believe in him. I still think he's a good pitcher. But there will be times where he'll struggle with allowing some power, and that's what he's done against lefties recently. He's been better against righties, but still allowing his exit velocity really high against righties, and strikeouts are kind of low against righties as well. So this is a tough matchup for sure. You have McGill here, who's been pretty good for the Mets so far. His ERA under 3, xFIP 4.01. Strikeouts are really high for a guy that just kind of came into the MLB kind of randomly. So, I kind of like the Mets in this spot. It's tough. If you look at this lineup for the Blue Jays, it profiles a lot better than the Mets, but we know what the Mets are capable of doing from that lineup. Just they haven't done it this year, as Kyle will allude to. But at the end of the day, it's tough to take the over in this game. Tough to take the under in this game with like a guy like Mats and McGill on the mound. So this is a tough one, another one that I would stay away from, and why we also talked about, there's not many great spots on today's card, so definitely be careful.
Yeah, a lot of mixed matches. Me and Kyle were talking here, Jason, before you got in before. Like, you look at the card, it's like, boy, this pitcher's good, but this lineup's good, so it cancels it out. This pitcher stinks, but this lineup stinks, and it cancels it out. So there's a couple of those here today. We'll skip over this Angels Minnesota game between Happ and Cobb and get right to Texas and Houston. Allard, the lefty, versus Odorizzi. Big favorite here for a Houston lineup, and also one of those where you say, why wouldn't you just lay the boom on Houston and their team total? Houston, not the greatest team matching up against lefties here. That is 8.5 across the board. Are we trusting Texas? Absolutely not. But the question, Kyle, is do you pay that big price with the Astros?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. And you're absolutely right. They struggle a little bit against lefties. This is another dog or pass for me. And look, the Rangers have been god awful. I mean, just god awful. Now they did wake up. We sort of said it. Hey, keep an eye on them. They could, and they did wake up. They put up 5 runs yesterday. Interstate rivalry, nobody's on them. It'd be the most surprising result outside of the Rockies winning in Chavez Ravine. I think it would be the most surprising result of the night if the Rangers were able to beat the Astros. But for me, it's another dog or pass. And I'm going to say this: Texas actually doesn't profile all that bad against Jake Odorizzi. Odorizzi hasn't been great in his last 4 starts against Texas. Nothing more than 23 fantasy points on FanDuel, which on FanDuel you want 40s and 50s and 60s. It's much different than DraftKings. The two sites are exponentially different. So that's why sometimes the point totals we talk about are a little bit different. But I don't know. This would be a dog or pass for me. I'm not paying that price on the Astros. I'm not paying the first 5 innings price. The first 5 innings price is ridiculous as well. It's something. God, I've freaking lost the number here. Minus 145, minus 0.5 in the first 5. I can't back Odorizzi. I can't back that wide of a number for me. It's dog or pass. I stayed away, but if you're going to do it, maybe give yourself a plus money chance with the Rangers. It's really risky. They've been terrible, but I can't trust the Rangers against lefties. And that's a very interesting stat. Rangers last 10 in the first 5 innings, 0-10. So there you go. Just stay the hell away from this game. Not enough value on the Astros. Just stay the hell away. Get the hell out of here. Stay the hell away from the game. You can stack some of the Astros righties in this lineup tonight for DFS if you want.
A lot of good chat box answers here to what Cleveland should have, named their team overall. Now, also, because we always like to go back and change history now. If we can't call them the Indians, does that mean like the movies Major League, they can never come on TV anymore because they're called the Cleveland Indians? I mean, there's a lot of PC stuff we got to watch that. So, yeah, no longer, Rick Vaughn coming out of the
Indian
dugout.
In the cupboard? Yeah. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
You will never put Indian in the cupboard in the library again. Get the hell out of here. That's ridiculous.
Like if you were the Cleveland Indians, like just the name Indians isn't inherently racist, I wouldn't think. But obviously they had a right to get rid of like Chief Wahoo and all that stuff and rid that. And we're not going to use that anymore. It's about respect and all that. I could see that. But the complete change of the name change. And it actually came out of left field too. Like, was anybody ever thinking like, oh, the Indians are going to have to change their name? And like, no, we're going to change our name because we think we need to change it. Then it goes to the Guardians. It'll be a while before we get used to it.
Andy Harris wins it. The Cleveland Supersonics. I've been wanting the Supersonics to come back for years. There we go. How about the Washington Supersonics in football? I would instantly root for them. Hang up the Sean Kemp jersey with pride. Play some Detlef Schrempf, NBA 2K.
A lightning bolt across the uniform? Yeah.
Come on. The Supersonics. Great call by Andy Harris in the chat box.
That's a great name. We're going to skip over this Detroit-Kansas City game because we covered that mightily here and get the little bit of Pittsburgh and San Francisco out on the West Coast. Hey, typical temperatures out there, right? Wind blowing out the center field, 58, 59 degrees. Chad Kuhl's on the mound versus Johnny Cueto. It's an 8.5, typically in that ballpark. Obviously, it is a pitcher's ballpark, but it actually circled both Pittsburgh and San Francisco here for a possible shot at team totals. What are you looking at, Jason, possibly in this game between those two?
Yeah, I'm with you there. If you go to the Giants lineup, they've done really great job at just getting on base, and they got some good power in the lineup as well, especially with Posey being back in the lineup. That's huge for them. Cool, 4.83 xFIP, walking nearly 13% of his batters. But if you go to his weighted OBA, it's really not that bad. Cool's kind of been a little bit better than I think we would have expected, but I don't think that lasts. I don't think that continues on moving forward, especially against a team like the Giants, who they're much better offense than a lot of the teams in the league. And that's why they're sitting at first in the NL West. Then you go to Pittsburgh, though. They've done a good job getting on base, too. They got guys like Frazier, Hayes, Reynolds, Gamel, Nagowski, Polanco, Defoe. I mean, all these guys are getting on base at a high rate against righties in the last 30 days. And Cueto not getting a lot of ground balls. xFIP's a little bit high. Strikeouts aren't too bad. Walks are low enough, but does give up a solid amount of hard contact at around 38%. Struggles with power against lefties, and also weighted OBA is high against righties. So there's room for both teams to explode offensively. So I do agree with the over in this game.
All right, Kyle's talked extensively here about Colorado and the Los Angeles Dodgers tonight. We'll skip over that game. One last game out on the West Coast. Why you be watching and staying up late? Hey, it's what we do on Friday. It's payday here. Oakland versus Seattle. Montas versus Kikuchi, the lefty. Slight favorite here towards the Oakland Athletics. Kyle, about 120 to 125. And also a 7.5 that opened up at most of these books as opening numbers. Still sitting at 7.5. Some 8s are showing up. Pitcher's ballpark. Maybe you don't see some runs. Any quick thoughts here between Oakland and Seattle?
It's one of the spots where I'm seeing a good team at plus money, minus 0.5 in the first 5 at plus 115. Both Kikuchi and Montas should be able to get through these lineups. I don't mind the under 4 in the first 5 innings. But just, again, this is a pretty even spot. I think the Mariners are a disrespected winning team in baseball. They've been very good to us as underdogs this year. The A's starting to earn my trust. They come through yesterday in the bottom of the 5th, win that first 5. It's nothing official here, but you're getting plus money, plus 115, so you're getting, 15 cents better than even money here on them to be up by minus 0.5 in the first 5. Montas and Kikuchi, I mean, that's a narrow margin there. I think Kikuchi's been very quietly solid this year. He's actually been very good against the A's in his last 4 starts, nothing less than 34 fantasy points. You sprinkle that over to Montas, he's got nothing less than 39. Both these pitchers should deal. The under 4 makes a lot of sense if you're looking for a plus money spot. A's minus 0.5 in the first 5. But again, I would take that very, very lightly and not put a ton on it.
All right, close to 400 people watching today. Thank you for all your love and support here on a Friday. Not enough likes out there in the chat box, though. Only 95 to nothing. We'll take that. But we do need to see that number be a little bit higher. But as we always do, before we get out of here, we are going to clear the bases tonight and let you guys know exactly what we are on. So obviously, value menu wagers, best bets, and bankers. For me, I'm skipping the appetizer. I'm skipping it. Get right to the main course tonight. Detroit's team total over 4.5 is my best bet and banker. Looking to go to 31-12 on the season. Jason, take it away. What you got here, best bet bankers, and also some value on your card as well.
Yeah, that Tigers over 4.5 on the team total. That's going to be a value play for me. And then we'll go with the Dodgers over 2.5 in the first 5 on the team total at minus 140 via DraftKings. Again, Chichi Gonzalez. This should be his last start in the on the season for the Rockies, unless there's another injury. When Santella comes back, tells you everything you need to know about Chichi Gonzalez, and obviously performed terribly against the Dodgers in his last start. That should continue over on into tonight's game. And like Kyle pointed out, spin rate has really affected Chichi Gonzalez, and that's why strikeouts are down. And when strikeouts are down and the ground balls are down, that means we're going to see a lot of fly balls and a lot of launch angles from this Dodgers lineup, and so we should be able to get 3 runs in the first 5 innings.
All right, Kyle, what you got tonight? Best bet and bankers and some value on your card tonight.
That's funny in the chat box. I'm probably not even allowed to say it, but it's funny. Just read through the Cleveland names. The last one that was put up is absolutely the Cleveland Steamers. You're going to have to look that up in the Urban Dictionary, what that is. And trust me, you don't want to watch a video on that. Let me just say that.
So the Kyle has actually watched videos on that.
People get pink eye regularly from that video. So I don't know.
Right.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. So official play of the day. I like the Angels minus 0.5 in the first 5, minus 105. I just don't like the morale of the Twins. I like the pitching advantage. Cobb over Happ is one of the bigger pitching advantages on the slate today, so I'll take the Angels there. On the value menu, we'll go with that Braves team total over 2.5. Just a low number, capable lineup. Get to that Phillies bullpen over 2.5, minus 165. Reds minus 0.5 in the first 5 innings as well at minus 125. Love the Wade LeBlanc under 3.5 strikeouts. Again, he has not hit 4 strikeouts once this entire year. I don't expect him to start tonight. Some home run props. I know everyone likes those. Some players I have on my DFS list for home runs. There's 6 of them. Eugenio Suarez, Joey Gallo, Yordan Alvarez, Pete Alonso, of course, Shohei Ohtani, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. as well. It'd be silly not to include them on that list.
There you go. And Jason also left out his stay hot odds boost on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Michael Conforto hit a home run tonight, boosted to 8-1. Yeah. So we're going to get out of here tonight. Thank you guys for all your love and support all week long. Going to take that weekend off. Be right back here on Monday. But as we like to say, Friday is payday. And hopefully we can guide in some of these victories and put more cash in your pocket. I'm Donnie Seymour for Jason Radowitz and Kyle Purviance. We are the SportsBookReview.com Major League Baseball team. This was your Friday show. Enjoy the weekend. And as always, good luck with those wagers.